Hi, I'm Wendy Mendoza, and welcome to the Achieving Vibrance podcast, where I share mindset tips, high performance tips, and business tips for the female entrepreneur. And if you haven't yet, make sure you click the link below in the comment section here. You can join my free Facebook group called The Business Sisterhood, where I go live in that group every single week and share different tips and strategies all about growing your online business. Now, let's dive into this week's podcast. I had a business coach who recently would very often quote the famous Parkinson's law, which is work expands to fill available time. So if you're not familiar with this, it's something that Northcote Parkinson explained. I think he wrote an essay. You could look this up, but it's that idea that, the work that we have will expand to the available time that we each have. And so I'm sure some of you've had that experience where you were in college or high school or just work, even your business work, and you had a deadline to get something done. Let's say it's college and you knew by the end of the semester you had to write a paper. What most of us tend to do, myself included, is wait until the very last minute to get it done. And I remember at times in college being that person who would be up till 4 a.m. writing a 30-page paper that I literally had the entire semester to do, but for whatever reason I didn't get it done and never felt like I had time to do it. But all of a sudden, in a matter of 8 hours, I was able to push out this 8-page or 30-page paper and get it done. So that's what he means, that, whatever deadline we're given, many people tend to sort of hold off and they'll wait until the last minute to get things done. And something that I noticed when I quit my corporate job was all of a sudden I had all this free time in my day, and I would sit down at my desk, jumping into my entrepreneurship role full time. I was all excited about that. And I would be like, oh my gosh, it's taken me literally 8 hours to write a newsletter. What the heck is going on with me? Because what was happening prior to that when I had my corporate job is I was getting up at 5 a.m. I would spend an hour every morning working on my little side gig that I had. And I did that for a couple of years. At 5 a.m. I'd get up, I'd write a newsletter, I'd create my social media posts, and do whatever I was doing for my side job while I was in my corporate job. Within an hour, between 5 and 6 a.m., many days was the only time I would have to actually work on my entrepreneurship. And I got a lot done. I'd be like, man, I'm just kind of like a content machine. I can do a lot here. And then all of a sudden, when I quit my corporate job and I had the whole day completely free, I don't know, I just couldn't do it. I was like, I would sit down to write a newsletter, and like I said, 4 hours into it, I'm like, what is taking me so long? And it wasn't until I remembered this idea of Parkinson's law that I realized I didn't have that deadline. I didn't have that pressure anymore to, get in the shower and get ready for work and get to my corporate job by a certain time. And so I was literally giving myself a whole day to get something done that before maybe took me 45 minutes. And so what I started to do that has helped me, so that if this is you, and I hear this a lot with people who have gone from a very structured work environment to now working for themselves, is I use time blocking. And I've talked about this a lot. It's pretty simple. It's nothing, revolutionary, but it works. And these days what I do is I will set aside certain blocks of time to do different projects that I need to do for my business, because now I am 100% an entrepreneur, and I have to make sure, I can't be spending 4 hours a day on a newsletter when I know that it can literally take me 45 minutes. So these days I'll time block, and let's say I want to start writing my newsletter for the week today at 12 p.m. I'll put that in my calendar for 12 to say 1 p.m. to do everything, to write it, edit it, craft it, all the stuff I have to do for it. And then I'll set a timer for myself, and during that time, that's the only thing I'm working on during that time, so that I'm laser focused on that one activity. But then I've given it a set start point and a set end point. Now at 12 noon, I will then either I'm taking a break at that point or I have another client appointment coming up so that I have to literally get things done. And for me, that's been a key piece in helping me stay on track so that I'm not expanding my time out so far that I'm literally being inefficient with my time. So if that's you, maybe look up this idea. If you Google it, obviously you're going to find a ton of articles, a ton of input about it, but it is a fascinating concept. And I find for myself, it is true. Like if I have, and I would do this even in my corporate job, if I had a deadline to get something done, I never did it, up front. If my boss said, hey, I need this by Friday, inevitably I would wait till Thursday to start working on it. And, what's that do for you? It causes a lot of stress and anxiety. You better hope that nothing super major happens in that 24 hours before you have something due, or you're going to be in big trouble. And that's happened to me before too. So instead, maybe think about time blocking and how you can begin to apply that into the structure of your day. Even if you are still in a corporate job, you can still apply this concept of time blocking so that you're keeping your stress levels down. You are working on projects in a way that gets things done ahead of time. And trust me, you're going to feel a lot better about how you're managing your time when you do that as well. So let me know your comments. I'd love to hear if this is something that you apply, how you make sure that you're not letting the Parkinson's law sort of take over you and keep you from getting things done or keep you from being inefficient. All right, everybody, thanks so much, and I'll chat with you in the next podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure to subscribe and leave me a review. And by the way, you can find me over on Instagram. My handle is at Wendy Mendoza Coach. And like I mentioned at the beginning, if you haven't done it yet, click the link below in the show notes to head over to Facebook, join my free Facebook group called The Business Sisterhood. I'll see you there.